I've been talking about the end of the world as we know it, but basically the end of the world as we know it has already taken place if you consider it from a human point of view. Our society is very inhuman. You live in separate family units when the human thing, according to Darwin's research, is that we live in community. But people are unable to live in community for the reasons that I've explained. I'm talking about the psychological trauma that 65 to 85% would torture a stranger to death for no other reason than because an authority figure tells them to. But the other 15 to 35%, they are traumatized to some extent, but what's worse, they don't recognize the trauma that's rampant in society and among other people, even among people in their very own family. And this allows them to keep the human things, opportunities in their life at bay. So if they have a human relationship with someone who's healthy enough, both of them are constantly being, they're suffering from the interactions with inhuman people in their lives. And the inhuman people, they're always setting ultimatums. And in the end, they feel threatened. It's like when two very human people are dealing with each other, all this happens subconsciously. They kind of force the human person to choose. It's like, you need to include me in your relations or otherwise I'm going to boycott you, and if this is like a family member, then that feels very threatening. Or all kinds of threats happen. Yeah, you need to keep the 5 stages of grief in mind. They will practice denial or bargaining. If none of that works, then they attack. If that doesn't work, they go into depression. Anything to keep the humans in their lives, to keep them in. And then the humans, often they have contact with other human beings, but they are laissez-faire. They are live and let live. But the inhuman people in your lives, they're very demanding, and they place ultimatums. And they make your life difficult if you don't give in to them at some point. And because of this, good people keep other good people at bay. And this is the reason why people can't live in community and don't live in community. And because you can have a group of people, good people together, human people together, but because they aren't aware of this thing, this process going on, they allow bad people to come in and to destroy community. So if you're thinking you're going to prepare for life, just today, just to have a good human life, or prepare for an end of the world as we know it situation in some kind of community, you need to realize it's doomed to failure without this knowledge I'm telling you about. And the problem is, even healthy people, they are traumatized to some extent. There are very few people like me. I'm not saying I'm the only one, but there are very few people like me that are healthy enough to keep these bad people at bay. But even I let the bad people in because I wasn't aware. I simply didn't have the knowledge. You need the mental health, but you also need the knowledge. And I have underestimated this shit. And even in preparing for the end of the world as we know it, I have been dealing with people who in the end, they just gave up. So I'm talking about people, there was this girl, she gave up her job, she gave up a very good house, it was hard to come by house, she gave up her career and everything to come to me, to the island and prepare there, and after 5 months it was just, 5 months of dragging her feet and complaining and crying almost every day for nothing, just because she couldn't handle it. She couldn't handle actual action, and you need to understand that's not because she was difficult or she was just a weak person or any of this. It's true, she was weak. She was suffering from these from this disease and from psychological trauma. But it's more. It was my fault. I never should have allowed the fact that she was talking about these things with me to seduce me to taking her in, to actually committing my own actions, my own investment into preparing for the end of the world as we know it with someone like her. It was my mistake, but I underestimated it. So this is my warning to you, because I've been practicing this in both sense. I've been getting experience with it, and it's really bad. It is really bad. This is why I make such an issue of it. You need to understand. So if you think, oh, in an end of the world situation, people are going to come together, that's what I thought, you see? I thought, okay, I'm helping these people. This one idiot, I supplied him with the house on location. I'm like, okay, he's going to be there. I gave him the first help, right? So he can take it from there. No way, man. He ended up stabbing me in the back, and he cost me a lot of money and frustration, because I thought, when the shit hits, when he realizes that it's about saving his life, he's going to step up, right? But it's like I said, when the going gets tough, the tough get going, but the weak, they do the opposite. So these people, when faced with death, commit suicide. Do you understand? It's bizarre if you're human. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? But this is what these people do. So if you think it's all going to fall into place, no, it's going to get worse. And people, they're going to do actions that not only kill them, but kill you with them, because you made the mistake to trust them. You made the mistake to think everything would be fine. So this is what you need to understand. This will kill you. Okay, so you're human, you want to deal with other human beings, that's fine, but that's potential. It's not something you've realized yet. Now, the only opportunity I see for anybody, quite frankly, is a location like I've described, an island, a safe island, and dealing with people who have this knowledge. Healthy people with this knowledge. Unhealthy people with this knowledge doesn't work. Healthy people without this knowledge will not work. This is why communities, communes and such, through the ages, the only way they ever succeeded, and I've researched this stuff, the only way they've ever succeeded is when they had some religion to bind them. So there was some power, authority, there was a hierarchical structure, but that is inhuman. That is the reptilian mindset, power structures. You can live without power structures, but then you need this knowledge, the knowledge about what is human, what is humanity, how can you be human together.